Okay, good afternoon. Thank you for waiting for me. So we began last week, heading out somewhere, and we just didn't get close to what I wanted to talk about. We did. We covered shofris. So now it's for sure last year before the Shoshana. Okay, I said last week I wasn't sure. Now since it is, so I want to throw in as much as I could, bits and pieces. So I want to do quickly, there's a Chronos part which I didn't yet do here, although some of you have heard this before. I want to do quickly that, and then we'll move on from there. Any other tidbits, well, we could cover. Maybe even Bakshi Lakshan. No, I've no clue. Right, you have a chat? You have a chat? I don't yet have. Do you even know what I'm talking about? There's a very, very important minute. The Lakshan in the soup, thou shalt not have a long Lakshan. Has to be the square ones. There's a special place in hell for those who don't. Then you should go speak to a counselor. How can you know? What? Nothing. Nothing yet. Nothing. It just makes sense. I think I told you once, my kids, when we may joke about, so my kids have this yirutz and she baksi, so 90, whatever that means. It's just you have yirutz and everything. Anyway, so we might get to the simonim soon. Let's just go over this. The choronis. The choronis is usually a topic which falls in between the cracks because what exactly we're doing. We're minding Hashem using a kaidas Yitzchak. Hashem doesn't need reminding, and why we always bringing up a kaidas Yitzchak again and again and again, as if that will be the deal breaker in our upcoming year if we remind Hashem, so to speak, remind Hashem of a kaidas Yitzchak. Okay, so it goes as follows. To understand what a kaidas Yitzchak was. It obviously wasn't, the simple pshat which we learn when we are younger, which is tremendously so. Hashem says, tells Avram Avinu, take a child and bring him as a oiler to Hashem. It's very painful, it's very difficult, but that is not the highest level of nisoyan. In fact, many times people ask me that the nisyonis we struggle with are so much more than Avram Avinu's nisyonis. He went through nisyonis. Okay, but Hashem told him exactly what to do. Vayom Hashem al Avram, go. Hashem was telling him what to do. Was it difficult? Of course it's difficult. But Hashem told him what to do. Hashem says, take your son. It's difficult. But Hashem told him clearly what to do. Whereas our nisyonis sometimes are just so confusing. Vuz will dive into me. Talk to me. Tell me what you want. But the truth is, he struggled with the same things as we did. Avram Avinu really struggled. How old was he when he discovered monotheism? When he discovered Ribono Shel Olam, how old was he? 3. Thank you. How old was the world then? How old was the world when he was discovered Hashem? How are you working backwards? Okay. We know that Avram Avinu was born in 1948. All the Zionists know that. That's a powerful, a coincidence. I'm not joking. That was 1948. It was 1948. I'm saying, yes, but I'm not joking. He was born in 1948, 1948 years to Bris Oilam. So the world is 1,951 years old by now, and nobody found Hashem. Nobody chapped the store Hashem off of it. So if you're God, what would you do? When someone finally recognizes you, like, good job, babe. You know what I mean?
We didn't know, right?
That is a good question. So we know, Don Enosh, I think we've covered it here quite a few times. For 4 generations, three and a half generations, they knew. Udam knew and Cain and Hevel and Shais. What happens is the Rambam speaks about it. The Rambam asks this kasha. How could you go? Yeah. So then, one second, long before Noach, the Rambam asked this question. How could it be? He was in Gan Eden, Cain and Hevel heard first-hand stories. How does the world end up in Avodah Zarah? And he says it's very simple, because the concept to grasp the concept of a Ribono Shel Olam, of a one and only God, is way too difficult. You need Meshulim. And then you use the sun. Like, look how powerful the sun is. Just imagine who created the sun. Look how powerful the sun is. The next generation is like, the sun is so powerful. They lose it. That's Dar Enosh. When you use the intermediary to understand the Eibishter. Okay, instead of using the intermediate to appreciate. Not instead. I wanted to say that, but I'm glad you did.
Someone else.
You hit it from me a different time. So that's how you end up with Avodah Zarah. And it was already the 3rd generation. The Aranush you're right. One of you said the word Noach. Yes, Noach knew, but he didn't discover it. Okay, Hashem spoke to him. I'm not so sure if Noach was the philosopher that understood the depth of monotheism. In other words, he spoke to a god, one of the gods. I'm not sure. I can't speak all the way for Noach, but it certainly says that Avraham Avinu was one that discovered absolutely everything and got, the whole picture. Okay, so it's all good questions. There may have been people here and there, but certainly not as a spreading it. The movers in the check. So yeah, Avraham Avinu, and certainly in his generation, they were all idol worshippers. And if his father wasn't just idol worship, he manufactured gods, which is extremely convenient. By the way, if you need anything, you just manufacture a god which matches your need, and he's God. He's all the power. So in his generation, there was nobody who understood anything close to that. If you're Hashem, what would you say if finally someone's recognizing me and spreading the word? And not a word till he's 75 years old. Isn't that confusing? Am I on the right path or not? Have we ever asked ourselves? Am I on the right path? I'm trying. I don't know. Send me a sign. Well, Hashem sent him a sign. He saved him from the pit of fire, did he? And a minute later, his brother died in that same pit. That's confusing. As long as you're honest, am I on the right side? Am I on the right side of history is a very scary question. If I may say, I feel terrible for all those martyrs, in Lebanon and Gaza. Am I allowed to feel better? Am I allowed to feel better? I think so. Some of them are serious people. They want to do the right thing and follow Allah. They want to do the right thing. How do you know you're on the right path? Go ahead.
That's what
I'm not blaming anyone, but at least it's exciting that someone finally figured it out. Hey, good question. It's not fault. He wants us, Ribono Shel Olam wants us to use our brain, and we don't. It just means that the Irish have so much patience. But again, I'm not saying that Irish are tanners. All I'm saying is, fine, yes, Tom.
Why not make it clear? Why can't it be?
Because he wants it to come from our own. You're proving a point that Hashem Erech HaPayim is one of the Yudgim and Midas Harachman. Means he has plenty of time. All no emergencies. Told those Jews will figure it out. Why are we still in Gunas 2,000 years? More than 1948. It's okay. We'll get our act together. We'll come out. He hasn't got time. He's saying, Abisha says, I created a world with the ability to think and the ability to choose life. If this takes forever, I have all the time in the world. Noach could have been a good time or not. I agree. Noach could have been a good time. Yeah. I don't have a good answer on how Noach acted. If he brought carbonus to the Abishur, you're right. I don't know. Yeah, but Noach certainly had the opportunity to be there for him, you think?
And he recognized the ship. Give him the message.
I don't know.
I guess.
I don't know how much he believed himself. Ma'amin ve'ena ma'amin. Anyway, this is all intro to where I'm heading. But again, of course, Hashem has time. It takes time. But why should Hashem be, as you said, your question is why shouldn't Hashem be a little clearer before 1948? I'm asking why Hashem isn't clearer after 1948. Yeah, but once someone's recognized him, now finally, Avroma Ivri. Ivri means you are on one side of the entire world. Not so easy to be different. Not so easy to say, I want to make a bit difference in the world, although most people don't agree. If it's the right thing to do, you do it. Okay. They believe in one Hashem. They just believe that he wrote the book of Quran instead of, 5 books of Moses instead. Yeah, it's based on Old Testament. Yeah. Okay, still came later. It changes rules. Who's what? Idols. They're very religious, believing in a God that controls you. Concept of idols, they were very into it. It's not you, it's not Koichiv Yudi. There's a power behind things. That's pagan. If there's a power to everything, he came up with the one and only. Anyway, I want you to understand that he went through real nisyonos. His main nisyon is, as I said, this is am I on the right path? It's a very, very confusing, very lonely, very confusing. If it's the right thing to do, you forge ahead. Now, specifically, nisyon Akedas Yitzchak was huge for him. Because not just he understood who Hashem is, he understood what Hashem wants. That means we know how Avraham Avinu kept the entire Torah, right? Why did he keep? What was the point of keeping the Torah before it was given? Or who told him? Did Hashem teach Avraham the Torah beforehand? What? It was? What was the Torah's Teva? What do you mean? Do you explain? Oh, in other words, the Torah, unlike you may think, is like a book written by God, do this, don't do that, because like, hey, it's a new religion. Every religion needs do's and don'ts. I better throw out a bunch of do's and don'ts. Torah is Amos. That means it's the Eibishter Alliance. And it makes the most sense that every 7 days, take a day off for Shabbos. Avraham Avinu was so close to the Eibishter, understood the Eibishter. If you understand the Eibishter Alliance, you understand the mitzvahs. And he said it's impossible to live life without Shabbos. Even that we agree. But he understood it's impossible to live life when your sweater is mixed wool and linen. Like, wool and linen? Life can't run smoothly with wool and linen. How? I don't know. I'm saying he understood roots in Hashem. Roots in Hashem isn't outside of the Eibishter Alliance. Are we clear? So that's where I'm heading. When he understood the Torah, he understood Lo Sirtzach. Lo Sirtzach doesn't just mean it's immoral to kill. It means we don't care about we kill Amalekim. Okay, I don't know if that ever bothers you. We do roots in Hashem, and the roots in Hashem usually default, generally speaking, not to kill. So I know that the Eibishter doesn't want me to kill Yitzchak. Now Hashem is saying, kill Yitzchak. His concern is not my child, lose my child. His concern is, forget about my feelings for a moment. It's not about me. I know you don't want me to do this. I know that you don't want me to do this. And proof to that is, he was right. Eibishter didn't want to, because the end he didn't. And the end he didn't shech. The Eibishter didn't want him to shech Yitzchak. She knew the Eibishter doesn't want this. Yet Hashem is telling him, do it. So what do you do? What do you do? I know you don't want me to do this. Example I gave last week when I was teaching this is, imagine you're on a diet, a very strict diet, and one night, excuse me, evening, you're in a bad mood. You tell your husband, you go get me an ice cream. He says, you don't want to eat that ice cream, I know you. you remember the feeling when you're on a diet and you did eat that ice cream? It's like, why did I eat this? Familiar with that feeling? Why did I eat this? Will you tell your husband, please get me that she is Danish? Do you want your husband to buy it? Or let me ask you, should he buy it? Should he buy it? Should he buy that she is Danish or not?
What's that?
Again? I asked that question once? Yeah. What about this? Yeah. Different question. Yeah, the husband asks the wife at night, wake me up tomorrow morning for Shabbos. And the alarm clock goes off at 6. And she hears it. As always, he doesn't. And she's like, oh, he's sleeping so deep. He says, fine. And she says, no, I want to stay asleep. And you wake him up and he says, I want to stay asleep. And she's like, we've been through this before. I know you're going to be upset afterwards. Should you wake him or not? And forget about that, Moshe. Go back to the other one. Should he get you the cheese Danish or not? Or should he get you a salad?
Get something. He has to get something. She's in a bad mood. He has to get something. If he should know it, well.
Okay, it's not working so well here. I think so too. You're saying no, maybe because I don't think you could relate to that mushal if you would actually ask for the cheese Danish. You look at Chila, just ask for salads. That's right. Anyway, it's a difficult question. Shalom Bayis. He knows that she doesn't want it. He knows if he does buy it, he's going to have to deal with it afterwards. No, he won't blame him. She won't blame him. She's a mensch, but she'll be in a bad mood and he has to put up with that. So what's the right thing to do? Now, I think the right thing is to buy. I think the right thing is to buy. Not because I think so, because that's what I've heard over the years teaching this. Okay? Most men say they shouldn't. They want to be a good husband. You know what I mean? I'm not going to buy it. But I think the right thing is to buy because don't go into cheshbonos. Your wife wants something from you. You know, be nice. Respect the feelings. You know, we spoke about this like over time. I don't know if you remember. What's the definition of respect? The Lushna Rambam is a husband is supposed to respect his wife. An interesting term. The Rambam says a husband is supposed to respect her more than you respect yourself. Why respect? Interesting Lushna. It says the Talmidim of Rebbe Kiva. That's why I was my yeshiva, like Boimin. Talmidim of Rebbe Kiva, L'nehage koved zeh b'zeh. They respect each other. Interesting. Rebbe Kiva was known for, that was his mantra. And now his Talmidim, 24,000, didn't respect each other. What is respect? It depends. No, not necessarily. No, that's your pshat. That's not the pshat. I hear that's one pshat. I'm giving it a pshat. How do you define respect? So we know the concept of kavod is like by a rebbe, pushing the chair. So my question is, would you want so the Rambam says respect you. Would you want your husband to stand behind your chair and push it and pull it out when you put it getting up? It says respect. It says respect. You have to respect. So what's respect mean? Why do you do it to a Rebbe? Because I don't want you to do it to me either. Because I'm not interested, but the Rebbe obviously does like it. So you do it to him. In other words, respect means you do what they want, even if it doesn't, it doesn't need to go to that level want. I'm saying if it doesn't make sense, this is what they want now. Okay? Even if it doesn't make sense. That's what I'm saying. It's like it doesn't need to make sense. So that's why specifically the Rambam is very mediac, because the husbands think to the guy, the wife, like, why do you want this? Doesn't make sense. Okay? You respect the wife, even if it doesn't make sense, you respect. That's the concept of kavod. So Avraham Avinu had a tremendous nisayon. His nisayon is, I know you don't want me to kill this child, but you're telling me to. It doesn't make sense. Not just it doesn't make sense because I don't want to, because I know you don't want to. You're putting aside your feelings, whether it makes sense or not. You do it because he told you to do it. Okay? That's why you did. Otherwise the question is, why then did you take it to it? What's the right thing? It's not a simple question. What is the right thing? But the answer is, ultimately, If you put aside your whole brain, what would you do? If you put aside your brain. Do you agree? If you put aside your brain. Now, if you think about it, Avram's brain was his main asset in life. Unlike our brain, which we don't use so much, use more other things. But Avram Avinu, if he puts away his brain, he'll do it. It's the biggest Mesidas Nefesh for Avram Avinu to put aside his brain. His whole life, his whole philosophy is based on his brain. And you put aside your brain, you'll do it.
Dude, Hashem's perfect. Honestly,
One second, continue question. What?
Hashem is not perfect.
That's a very good question. Very good, very good, very good question. I've answered many times in different questions, but this answer, that our understanding of Hashem is based on our personal experience with him lately, you're going to have a very confusing God. If we understand his essence, then my personal experience today is not going to shake the core. So he's not imperfect because of this episode. I know him so well. Now he's asking me something which I don't understand. My brain doesn't comprehend such a thing. It doesn't take away from his perfection. It just, for him now, this specific act won't make sense. You get it? It's very important to understand that you saw it. When we have questions, so does God, it's strange now. His essence isn't based on my personal experience with him today. His essence is his essence. Well, Avram Avinu's job wasn't, when he was 3 years old, he didn't no, how's God to me today? Am I feeling okay? Is he nice to me? That's not what he did. His philosophy was based on who Hashem is. The more you understood who Hashem is, the more it made sense. It's real. He's perfect. Now he's asking me to put aside my brain. Whoa, that's the hardest discern one could ever have. Avram Avinu could ever have. Yet he did it. Because it's the right thing to do. When you know the truth, you got to put aside your brain sometimes. When you know the truth. Now, if that's the case, well, go ahead. With what? Yeah. But so we don't start with that. Once we know who the Irish is, then that's when our Mina Peshita kicks in. I've said this so many times. Our Mina Peshita is only after you know. Because once you know, yeah.
But then there's a new thing for more of a question. But even if it's like it's a little bit.
So you knew it the M's. What?
But also the children, in those times, the children were in the sense of the birth by the Zuba.
Yeah. Yeah.
Opposite everything.
And now he's doing what they all do, always did. That's a different, slightly different part. I'm just using the concept of music with the brain. Yeah, that's just a different part. I usually speak about that. I just used the different one today. What did you want to say?
I think then the wording has to change. No. Cool. This is something.
No, I didn't say he knows he's going to regret it. I'm saying ultimately we see it. He was right because Hashem did it. He didn't know. He didn't know Hashem's going to regret it. No, what I'm saying is I know that he doesn't like these things. Generally speaking, Hashem doesn't like these things. Now he's telling me to do it. So it's confusing, but since I know Hashem is real, it's confusing for my brain. Put aside your brain. Yes.
It's actually not a discussion. We would be in that question. And we know this is much of the none of us are actually.
Oh, by Kedas Yitzchak is. But if, I mean the simple pshat of Kedas Yitzchak. So we would do that, yeah. If Hashem himself would talk to us and say, do this, of course we would. But when he had this nisayon that he was so clear what Rutz and Hashem is, he had to put aside his brain. That's the most difficult thing for him. This is a good question. I know, but it's just we're getting too sidetracked to too many things. I'm sorry. I think we've covered it once. So, but no, of course it didn't mean speaking, but it means clarity. It means clarity. Anyway, let's move on. So that was his nisayon. So again, then why did he do it? If my wife doesn't want it, why do you do it? Because if you put aside your brain, you know what to do. It's the most difficult thing for a thinker. And by that moment, he made an unbelievable pact, with Hashem. I'm in this relationship no matter what. Whether it makes sense or not, I'm going to listen to you. But we expect in return that level of relationship from the Eibishter. Hashem is in to us no matter what, whether we deserve it or not. So as I say on this, there's in Parshas Toldos, that's a shaykhis to this, because the Parsha told us we know Yaakov Avinu got the bruchas from Yitzchak, right? Yitzchak wanted to give the bruchas to Esav, and instead he gave it to Yaakov. How did Yaakov get it instead of Esav? He wanted to give it Esav. How did he not see it's Yaakov? How did he not see it's Yaakov instead of Esav? Oh, his mother put on the arms. That's the next step. Because he was blind. Why was Yitzchak blind? So you know by now. Because again, this Yitzchak, I always say, try to say that line without rolling your eyeballs. We say it since we're 3 years old, so we get used to it. At a certain point, it becomes part of our story. Does that make sense? Maluchim cried. It dripped into Yitzchak's eyes. It didn't blind him. But 100 years later, it blinded him. Right? He only got blind at the end of his life. Does that make sense? But the other story is that, so he got the bruchas. So Baruch Hashem, we got the bruchas. Yaakov, Klal, we got the bruchas. But if you think about it, it's a little uncomfortable that we got the bruchas through a Gneiverstick, It's so Jewish, our guilt, We finally got the bruchas. I had to come like this, I had to come through, he wanted to give Esav, and we stole it. Can't we walk around comfortably feeling Hashem gave us the bruchas? No. We got it, but, we figured it out. So why did I have to go through that way? Then it says, if Yitzchak Avinu would have called Yaakov, said, my dear son Yaakov, I want to give you the bruchas. Esav, he's shake it out. I want to give you the bruchas. And he would have branched him as Yaakov Avinu. We would have said today that Yaakov deserves bruchas. He's a big tzaddik, Yaakov Avinu. But who are we to be zoichet to those bruchas? We're so schwach, we're such a lumat dreiga, we're not zoichet to those bruchas. That's what we would say. That's why the Eibishter made that Yitzchak should want to give the bruchas to someone called Esav. And he had in mind just giving to an Esav a shegitz. And Yaakov got it. Yaakov got the bruchas with the intention that he's Esav. So however Esav you are, however bad you could get, you're certainly not Esav. And if he got the bruchas, if Yaakov got the bruchas with the intention that he's Esav, we certainly deserve the bruchas, even if we are bad. That's why we got it like that, thinking someone who is Esav is deserving of those bruchas. That's what happened then. The question is for us, why do we deserve those bruchas, even if we don't deserve those bruchas? The answer is, I don't know. But that's the deal. When Avraham Avinu was on the mountain that day, and he told Hashem, doesn't make sense what I'm doing, but I'm in, because in a relationship I'm not thinking, I'm in. At that point, the Maluchim got excited and said, we need this as a deal. So they went and blinded Yitzchak 100 years later in order that deal should come to fruition, that Yitzchak gives the bruchas to Yaakov thinking it's Esav no matter what, whether we deserve it or not, we're in. Are we clear? That's what Zechariah is. Zechariah is, you got to remind yourself what type of relationship you're having with Hashem. Im kavunim, im ka'avodim. If you enter the Shoshana ka'avodim, which is, I worked hard for you this year, pay me. Hashem says, oh yeah? Well then, let's take out the book. Let's see how well you did. That's kavodim. Oh, im kavodim. If you're a ben, if you have a relationship with Hashem, if your relationship is like those moments, then it's a relationship. We deserve more than what you deserve, pen and paper, because we're in. But that's only if you have those moments with the Eibishter, like Avraham Avinu had. Whereas I like to add always, we have to also create memories for the next year. The end of the year book, which comes out from your Google Photos every year, top pictures of 2024. You can see how well your embarrass is there. Because how many pictures of the top pictures of 2024 of, with your husband, and how many with your friends going out to eat? You know what I mean? It's like, what were your moments this year? So our top 10 pictures with Hashem is what? You made brachas before you ate? It's not going to make it to the top 10 pictures. Unless you never do, and then there's something huge. In our memory book with Irish Avram Avinu, it was a moment. Okay, that was our memory. Not everything creates memories. With Jews, the good Jews, if you're an Ebed, you want to have such a year, and Hashem is going to check out how well you did. Or if we create memories, and we're showing Hashem, we're in this relationship in a massive way. Does a massive way mean? It means, no matter what, even if I got challenged in the middle of the year, and I say it a bunch of times, you know best. That's showing Hashem, I'm in. It's not conditional if he's nice to me or not. Those will create memories. When we take upon ourselves to have more memories in our Tushim Pai year, then we're in that level of relationship. We're not in the relationship of Avodim. We're in the relationship of Bunim or more, and husband or wife. When you're in that level of relationship, then the Din Torah is very different. It's not about what did you do this year. It's about who are we? Who are we? A couple who was married for 75 years, then should really speak to them. Well, the secrets are. But they asked themselves, without actually asking, why are we still together? It's because, we've had our ups and downs, but obviously, those moments, that's why we're still together.
He passed away. I think they were in the 80s or 90s. They never had lives, but they stuck together. And he was wheeled with oxygen, and she yelled from the window, I knew I married a sick man. I told you all my life that you were sick. And he took off the oxygen. I said, you'll still get from me when I come back. They were in their 90s.
Okay, I'm not talking about that couple. I'm not talking about that couple. Actually, what? It's not. So why are they together? So why are they together? Well, but I don't know how you took the story. Again, if you took it like that, then I agree with you. I took it as that, but like, some people are just together because the system or shadichim or whatever and all that, and they're still beating each other up. Oh, that I agree. If it's a couple because they want to, that's what keeps them together, bickering with each other. I know those couples. I agree. Now, I'm just trying to bring out that even if people have had the ups and downs, it's like if you look back and you see our memories, I think, you know what? We really do love each other, even if those moments. We've had moments with Eibishter, but if you take out the memory book and say, wow, this is a beautiful relationship. But again, you could choose if you want to be a professional Jew, you know what I mean? Cross all the T's and dot all the I's. Well, we'll have a real, authentic relationship. And then over Rosh Hashanah is the time we should take upon ourselves, Malchius, as I said a few weeks ago with Mamlech Eibishter, that he knows best. I want him to be king. But Zechron says, I want to be in the book of memories. I don't want to just be another Jew. Our relationship with Eibishter shouldn't be mediocre. I want a real relationship, not just Yutzigevein, not to get out of, just get out of Gehenna type of Jew. Parvin Gedavin, as always say. So that's what Zechron says when we take out that book and remind ourselves that Avram Avinu did that with the Eibishter. He's in no matter what. The Eibishter is going to do that with us also. But if we are willing to have that relationship with Eibishter no matter what, it's not conditional. That's what Zechron says. Clear? Okay. That took quick.
It's about forgiving. Let's say it's attached, but actually whatever you did to me. Yeah.
Very, very good addition. Very good addition. If we're forgiving to the Eibishter, then the relationship that happens. I know that, you weren't so nice to me, God, this year. But I'm forgiving because I know that in this relationship it's real. I know you truly love me, and things I didn't understand, I'll forgive you. So Hashem, in return, forgives us, for pulling the bone out of the fish out, or whatever. Well, it's not a circles.
So easy.
Because it's not so. A very good question. Because it's not so easy. Because we're humans. Because we're humans, and our human.
Right. Pretty bad. It's like that.
I do agree that none of us are going to hell. Means to say we have to be really bad.
You're sad, and he knows you really love him, because you have, sounds like it's really like almost like basically you're in, you're great.
I think we are very, very good Jews. We are very, very ehrlich. And it's crazy how we sometimes beat ourselves up. It's all in nuances and details. Our life is so firm. And it's true. We're very good. We beat ourselves up too much. One of the reasons we eat a pomegranate on Rosh Hashanah is so that, Emma, 630, so that, to remind you how holy every Yid is, no matter how low you think they are. The Gemara, Lushan Gemara is, even the empty ones, okay, we are so firm. We are so ehrlich. We're so heilig. But we need to reminding, because other people remind us. Tell us sometimes. We're so heilig. But one second, also, we have to admit also, sometimes we fight that because we just want to live in America. You know, I mean, we forget that we're in a deep, meaningful relationship with Eibishter. So sometimes it is about not matunish. So it's about the rules. Oh, I don't want to because I want to build a relationship with Eibishter. That's what we tend to forget. Yeah, on a daily basis, we tend to forget that our relationship with Hashem is real. It's not about the do's and don'ts. Do you agree that we could forget that sometimes?
Once you get it.
Once you get it, but the question is how often do we live? How often do we live with it? How often do we live with it? That truth. We tend to go at a certain, but at a certain point we have to show Hashem that we're still in this relationship, in the real relationship. No?
But anytime you're stressed, that means you're not in a relationship with Hashem.
No, that means you're human. No, that means we're human. No, it depends how long the stress lasts for.
Right, so the verse also means I have to forgive you. But
I don't have to, I want to.
fine, but if there is that relationship, then even if you go up, you go down, you're still within the relationship.
Emma,
It's a big deal.
I agree, but the question is how long could you be down for? But we're recommitting that I want this level of relationship with the Eibishter. Again? It is a sentence. You know the famous joke. I'm answering you. You know the famous joke that this lady said, right, complaining that her husband never says I love you. And 1 second, I want you to answer.
And he said,
I told you the yichud room. If things would have changed, I would have let you know. Okay, so you can't just say it once. One second.
once.
And also, there's a concept of an anniversary.
Here said it once.
Again, we are amazing. But there's also a concept of anniversary, right? The meals show that I am excited that Hashem is being mamlech. We are being mamlech Hashem. I'm excited. It's not just a sentence. We're living it. Today's the day which Hashem is, the coronation, how do you say it? We whatever the word is, so that Hashem is becoming king again. Okay? It's not a sentence. It's a feeling. We're supposed to live it. That's why we're supposed to have good meals. It's not about, okay, I'm in. I said I'm in. We're supposed to experience and live along like the moment, what's it called when the president comes in that day? Yes. Inauguration day. The bomb, what was those old-fashioned bombs called? They're shooting out the cannons, right? The cannons, and then the airplanes, and it's good. It's just inauguration day. Live it. The more we live it, the more we show how real it is for us. Try a couple of years without it, you'll agree with me. The reason we offer him today is because last year we had it. We need to live it every year. It's not about a sentence. In fact, when you go through the davening, davening is only to put us properly in our mindset. Back in the days, it wasn't davening. We're just so schwach, we're so far. So the davening is supposed to put us in the correct mindset. If it doesn't, it's not no point. All the simunim. What's the point of all the simunim? You know how much I believe in skills, right? It's to put you in a mindset. You know, someone asked me a question literally before previous year. Mentioned Eklenzach, you know, the head of the fish, horrible. First of all, you don't need to be like your bucher that takes out the tongue, you know what I mean, or the eye. The heads could be, you know, in the back of the head, take out some of it, but still, it's the head. So someone had an idea. If you clean it before Yom Tov, take out, you know, all the flesh of all the fish, and make it in balls or whatever. You won't notice. It's the head. Is that a good idea?
No, yeah.
Thank you. It's better to see it and not eat it than eat it and not seeing it, because it's not this guy isn't hocus pocus, you know, like, I ate the head of the fish. I'm gonna be holy this year. It's like, remember the head. Remind yourself that we are holy karimon. We have so many mitzvahs. Remind yourself that there's the shurim out there who try to bring us down. And Hashem, you know, this year there should be Malchus Shemayim, Malach HaKol Olam Kula B'Chvodah, instead of Nasrallah being at the top. You know what I mean? It was you eating that horrible carrot last year, or vegetable, that brought down the Nasrallah. Not eating it. That's feelings. So all these things remind us. You can't be just done over and done with. It's like spend a good part of your day of Malchias, and spend a good part of your day as a Charodas, remembering our relationship with Eibishter. What's the idea of taking your Avidas and throwing it into the water? And what happens if you don't? You're stuck with Avidas in your pocket? All these things they're symbolic. It's symbolic, like, I don't want to have strikers with it, you know? Take them away, throw them away. You okay with us, like Kapudas? Talk about Kapudas, maybe next week. I want to add something else. I mentioned him Kabudim and Kabudim. Something specifically this year to think about. There's tremendous amount of malas and kabunim. Last few shirim we spoke about it. Again, it's either Yom Adin and you're an Eved and good luck, or if your relationship is different, then you get away with a lot of things. Chas v'shalom, and not officially and get away. It means you have a good relationship with Eibishter, and that's all you need to show Hashem. Campaign for Hashem, you know, hang up the Hamelach signs, and he needs you in his cabinet. Okay, that's Gebunim, but you have to understand that Eved is an individual. Your Eved, you come to Hashem. I did X amount of mitzvahs. I tried to refrain from Avedas. Hashem will be done. You, but Bunim is a family. Okay, and if you want to say you're Bunim, ask yourselves: are you bringing along any siblings? Do you care for your siblings? That's the question. Hashem has a very, very large family. So if you're coming to Hashem as an Eved, as I said, it's not so comfortable. We'd much prefer to come with that better relationship. But if you come against this relationship, we don't have such a small family. It's a very, very large family. And how much time and effort do we put in thinking of our brothers and sisters? It's something we need to ask ourselves. And Rosh Hashanah is certainly a day, if we're being mamlich the Eibishter, then you're standing at the front, you know, in the first family, you want the whole family there. And if part of your tefillah is bringing back your family, then Hashem sees that you're serious about it. I think it's something to think about more specifically this year. Now, I don't mean just kidduv, although I also do, but thinking at least, davening, because it's not just me. Touch the tefillahs. What we're saying, we're asking Hashem that not just me, but everyone you should reign over everyone, and everyone should feel that you are the one and only God. You're not asking for yourself. It's amazing that most tefillahs you're not asking for panusa or shedichim. We did this already. What are you asking for? That Hashem should be king on who? On absolutely everyone. We want everyone should recognize. What's the wording? There's a great song in it also. That everyone should understand. For jeder kol poel ki ato pa'altoi. Everyone should know and understand. Everyone. I'm asking you, there are people walking around in the street and no clue what they're doing here. It should bother you. That's a kidduv aspect. Of course, yes, daven for the that's the solution to tefillah. But I hope we're still davening for the hostages. I'm just throwing it out there. I hope we are. I was in Texas. I was in Dallas, Texas for Shabbos this past week. In Muncie, I believe Baruch Park too. For the first month after October 7, every shield that we could petlach dilim after davening Shachris Mincha Mad. What? Muncie did. Amish shields for the first month, and I was very touched in Dallas. Even on Shabbos, even on Monday didn't do Muncie Shabbos. The middle of Kabbalah Shabbos, just after Lechadodi, they said we could petlach dilim pusik by pusik for the hostages. Because you know why? Because they lost someone. One of their children, was in the IDF, and he died a few weeks ago. There's another few who are in the IDF. So much more real. So we don't send our kids to the army. I'm not arguing with that. The Gedolim said we shouldn't, but it has a certain distance to us because of it. You know what I mean? If sitting around this table, if 3 of our children would be now in Gaza or Lebanon, we'd feel differently. We'd think differently. And that's right. And we have to know that there's still 97 hostages, half of them are probably not even alive. There's still 97 people who have been in tunnels for almost a year. There's a baby, there's still this 2-year-old Bibas baby, in the tunnels for a whole year. You picked a name and passed away? Because you picked that name. No, chas v'shalom. Don't. Your guilt, your Jewish guilt shouldn't kick in there. But again, I think going into the Shoshana, we certainly have to think about this somewhat. That our brothers and sisters are 100 of them are still stuck in the tunnels. It's like we have to think about it. And besides, for ganz Klal Yisrael, especially in Israel, they're under tremendous danger and threat, imminent threat of nuclear powers, and we have to think about it. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that also. If you want the benefits of bunim, then you gotta come with your whole family. Come with your whole family. That means, at best, at least, daven for them. Daven gashmis and rochnis. Daven for the hostages. Daven for Klal Yisrael and rochnis. We have to daven that there are people who are walking around zombies, no clue why we are here. And it should bother us. It should bother us that Yidden have no clue about the Yiddishkeit. I don't just mean Yidden in Dallas, Texas. Yeah. Yidden are not close. It should bother us. And again, Chazal were massacred that tefillah. The main tefillah is not Zachreini L'chaim. You forget Zachreini L'chaim, you're Yotze. The main tefillah is the Zevachayim Ta'im Pachlechu. The main tefillah is davening that the world should recognize God, as the question you asked at the beginning, 1940. It's been 2,000 years. Hashem has patience. But Hashem wants to know, does it bother us? That'll help. When it bothers us, we should daven for it. We need to daven for it. And that's when Hashem sends Siyata D'Shmaya that will get the job done better, as long as we're desperately davening for it. Clear? What else? I've got more things to say. Do you have anything else you want to know on the Shoshana? No, I mean, any other clarification? Because we spoke so much about the Shoshana already.
I like what you said about life.
Yeah, we did that share last week. So.
So that you have life.
Yeah. We did it 2 weeks ago.
Back to the,
You have a
I have
question?
a question.
Go ahead.
Can I ask a question?
I'm listening. I'm with you. Yeah.
Oh, I don't hear you. I muted it. 1 second. I muted the sound.
Now you hear me?
Oh, now I hear you. Yeah, sorry.
I didn't know you have the ability to mute me.
No. I just took off my headset.
My wife
that's
will be
why.
jealous.
My question
ahead.
is, I've been working so much on this whole concept of like, that Hashem loves us and he wants us to be mamluchim, and it's not about, how scared we are and like Hashem's coming after us with a stick. Then I go to slichus and, out the window. Oh, we're terrible, Hashem, and please forgive us. And so where does that come in?
I want you.
We say slichus, the Sfarim say slichus from Rosh Chodesh Elul. We start saying it this week. So how do we integrate that?
I just want to share with you that I had the exact same feelings yesterday. I just want to share with you that. Her question is, and it bothers me. I was uncomfortable with slichus yesterday because our build up towards Rosh Hashanah and everything we speak about being mamlech Hashem. And the excitement, Hashem loves us and we want to be in this relationship, etc., etc. Everything we've been talking about the last 3 weeks. And the slichus language is just not there. Slichus language is all about the major Yom Adin coming, we better do tshuva. Do you understand? So the truth is, it depends how we take tshuva. In other words, we have to calm down a bit in the heaviness of that word, and that we have to, if you want to have a real relationship with someone, you got to come clean with them. It's not a joke. You can't just like, yeah, we love you. You've messed up. You've messed up. You have to come clean. At a certain point, when someone tells you so many times, when your kid says, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, at a certain point, we say, I'm sorry, be careful. You know what I mean? The word I'm sorry doesn't mean much. We have to come clean. So if you want to be zoiche to this excitement of Rosh Hashanah, then you also need to know it's very, very exciting, but it's also real. It's real. There's no jokes. And we have to do it properly and come clean with Hashem. I was just more uncomfortable with 1 or 2 lines where it says how we're tzittet, from the Yom Adin. Zichalim, v'redim, Yom Be'echa.
Right.
Onto the magnifying glass. You're weird.
This is what we have to sit
Yeah, so we had 4 sheetim the last 4 weeks about it. About the beauty of it versus... Okay, it's easier for kids. It's easier to get kids like that. Easier.
I think
Again, I answered. If we do it with that mindset, it's not we're gonna die. That mindset. I'm just not uncomfortable. Just that illusion, from the Yom Adin, because the essence isn't the Yom Adin. We spoke last week. The essence is Yom Teriel, a day of friendship. That's the essence of the day. But okay.
It's still a little scary because this is the part that Hashem writes down what's going to be the next year.
Amos. End of the day, this is what's going to happen. I agree. The end of the day, it's interesting. The Gemara asked, the Maluchim asked Hashem. Not Gemara's question. Gemara quotes angelic conversation. The Maluchim asked Hashem, why don't we say Hallel on Rosh Hashanah? What's the answer? Yeah, the Sefer Chaim and Sefer Ma'asim Pesuchim Levanim. That means after all, but just from the fact of they asked the question means that the Malachim asking, what do you mean? It's Rosh Hashanah. Of course we say Hallel. The fact that they asked the question means that's the essence of the day. The answer is it's insensitive because the end of the day. Today's the day which Hashem is going to read. Some people are going to die or suffer. So we're insensitive to say Hallel on this day. So that's certainly a somewhat of a.
Say basically means we're all going into the day for our times.
We're anyway going to. Sure. No, because we're all good because we are focused. Because because
it's not like we are in first grade, and that we're falling for something, but at the end of the day, are we frightened? Are we not frightened? At the end of the day, we're children, and Hashem loves us and He forgives us.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying only if you tune into it. So that's why we have to talk about it every year to make sure you are tuned into that level of relationship of loving Hashem and not doing it out of fear, not doing it because I want to go to Gehenna, therefore I need to do mitzvahs. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We need to discuss it. We need to discuss it every year to make sure, remind ourselves that we're not automatically kids and we go. Because we were choosing to have a deeper relationship with Abishter, and we're not choosing to just get out of it. As many people would, understand?
That's the real issue. We don't really have time. I have to set one foot of why it's just so hard. If you really think it, if you did it so well all the other years, and then the year doesn't come as hard as you did it, what's the point of doing it again? Because it means that you don't have to do it as earnestly, because either way, what's going to happen is going to happen because he loves you. So if you see good, you don't see good. Your effort now does not seem for us that it pays out. So then, really, we're just children, and you love them.
So because the answer is not in the good. That's the share of Chaim. The answer is, it's not about good year or bad year, what he will do to you. The question is, are you going to live it? That means, if you choose it as a relationship, then your year will be good because you chose a relationship with him. Versus if you don't choose it, what will happen? Will happen. I agree. But if you don't choose it, then it's all about you.
2024 snapshots then of you and Hashem. The Google photos.
What things
do you think?
What things you are willing to do? Again, what will happen? Will happen. That I agree. Okay, listen. What will happen? Will happen. I agree. If you don't work at this to choose it, then it'll happen. What will happen will be a patch. It'll be painful, and we won't understand it towards it. I guess Hashem knows what he's doing, but unless you choose it, then he gets this is my relationship. That's what Hashem wants. Our level to him will be different. Our understanding and our feeling towards him will be very different if we work in ourselves to choose a relationship. And then we will put in those pictures.
Say that.
Okay, at least you're understanding that. We are saying that. That's what we're saying.
You don't. You don't say that. But that's
what we're saying. That's what Chaim is. I want Chaim. Chaim is, I want a relationship with you. It's all about.
It's that we would
That's,
either have it or not have it.
we're not asking for, because that's what good life would mean when you understand where it's coming from. Because again, Hashem does things, I agree. For the good and bad, and it always looks the same. But as the tzaddik, that's a famous story, as the tzaddik, are you suffering? What are we talking about? This is Hashem. Understand? So when we're begging Hashem, means I want to live, means to say, I want to live with you. The more I live with you, the more I understand that what you do is awesome. So it's all about us experiencing it. It's
as opposed to what he's getting.
for sure. Yes. Thank you. So we're begging Hashem that we should live. That was a shir 2 weeks ago. We should be a human versus an animal. Choosing Chaim versus Moves means I want to live. And we're living means understanding this relationship with the Eibishter. So therefore, how I will accept it. Thank you for bringing it up, by the way.
Last year, Rosh Hashanah was Shabbos, and Roy's main point was about Shalom.
One of the points. Yeah.
And then we came back a little like 10 minutes later, and it was after October 7th, and your point was again Shalom. And it was very disheartening to me because we just spoke about it. And I'm like, I don't think anyone here would have said, oh, well, whatever. And it was nasty.
I remember what I said after October 7th, and I said Hashem does what he wants to do. Thank you, man. Yeah, but what does that mean? What does that mean? Because this is also what he wants, and he wants to do chesed. Okay, so it's all about our understanding of it. It's all about how we. So again, if you build a relationship with Hashem, then you'll perceive it different. If you don't, you won't. So we're asking for Chaim to have a real relationship with Eibishter. I want to add one more thing, if I may.
I once heard that there was someone that was in jail and said that he always thanked Hashem whatever it was. He was in jail and he always said in fact Hashem was better than he was whatever. Once said God then jail.
Yeah.
He said that he never understood how you
But if Goizai Mekayim sounds like the Eibishter Bachazai. don't know if he does gezeidas, Mekayim, you still make sure those gezeidas, happen. Go ahead.
So you're saying that then he understood what it meant, that that's when he's going to, but
He gives us the koyach to be Mekayim,
that's what he wants.
to live through it. Yeah. I just want to add one thing because you mentioned Shabbos, so if you remember it. I'm sorry. Okay, and no, I'll say something nice. Last year I said, if you remember also about Shabbos, I said.
Rabbi Royd, I don't hear you anymore.
Now do
For some
you?
reason. No, there's for some reason it's like very far away now.
I can't help you. There was
Okay,
someone
fine.
calling in, but I declined the call. But now it's still not good. Sorry, I don't work
Okay.
for Zoom anymore, so I don't know how. I'm sorry. Just try my best. Last year I said why we don't blow shofar Shabbos. Like, Shabbos Kodesh, who did shofar? Because on Tuesday, shofar to the old city. Shabbos. But then the scary part of it was that's if Shabbos is Shabbos. If we have Shabbos, you don't need shofar. If you don't have Nish Shabbos, Nish kan shofar, oivei. And we had that could have been yeah. But this year, we have Shabbos and shofar the same year. Why? Because it's Friday and there's an actual halacha. And those of you who are Mekayim of bringing in Shabbos early, so we blow shofar on Friday, and Friday is also Shabbos this year. I mean, Rosh Hashanah is Shabbos this year. Rosh Hashanah this year is Sai Shabbos and Sai blow shofar. So you have the schis Sai Shabbos and Shabbos shofar because Friday afternoon, which is strictly Rosh Hashanah, is also strictly Shabbos because there's a chiyuv d'oraisa to be Mosef Mechoil al Kodesh. So with the Raisa, Rosh Hashanah this year is Shabbos and we blow shofar. So if we had October 7 last year, because some people are not so makbid on Shabbos, which either way something we were supposed to work on and we did, Baruch Hashem, there's so much more Shmira Shabbos this year. As we know, so many people who took upon themselves things. But I'm just saying, it's Hashem this year, we're going to have the power of shofar and the power of Shabbos this year, because it's on a Friday. Okay? We should always look to a gift given to you and dipping the apple in the honey, seeing how sweet Yiddishkeit is, and building that relationship with Hashem and committing to such a relationship with Eibishter, so that whatever happens, we should all feel how beautiful Yiddishkeit is and how Hashem is always there behind it and loving us. It should translate in all good Gashmios things too.
I don't know. This comparison was bothering me.